Hi, this is Veena from VPM Pages. Welcome to my show, Spark Talk with VPM. Today we have guest from Canada who says every child is an artist, but knowing how to remain an artist is an art. We welcome Miss Raine Dalrymple, she has spent her career in education in all sector in personal disability, justice, and school systems. She is specialized in trauma and solutions that assist in promoting a wellness balance and living prosperous mentality. She is a passionate proponent for personal growth and evolutionary progress. Combining her curiosity for cosmic connectedness and flair for arts, she empowers others to explore and discover their hidden inner creativity by exploring a deeper meaning of their lives. Ma'am, we welcome you to the show. Thank you for taking your precious time and coming to my show. Could you please introduce yourself? We would like to know more about your childhood, your passion, and your career.
Yes, well, actually, good afternoon to you, but it's good morning for those
It's
of us
evening
from
here.
my end of the world. Thank you for having me, Veena. I really appreciate it. I know we've had some struggle kind of connecting and getting together, but we made it and we're here.
Yeah.
So, um, so as you said, I did spend quite a number of years, it'd be about a little over 22 years in education and working with the school systems and working in life skills and employment skills and all those sorts of um, teachings that help people to progress in their lives, right? Um, to grow in their lives. And I've always been fascinated with the spiritual aspect of our lives. And, I ended up then going into doing some training in Reiki and energy work. And
Oh,
what's really interesting, what people will find when they read my book, is that I've had so many wonderful experiences with spirit, and that's really brought me into this world of, a cosmic universe and cosmic universal consciousness. And it's just an exciting and fascinating trip.
and what about your passion, ma'am? This is your passion. Do you have something else
This is
also?
my passion, but as you can see, I also have a passion for art.
Uh,
And it's really a wonderful tool to help people grow. And children, children absolutely just are gravitated towards art. So we see this in our own children and we see this in the school systems. And it's really a chance for them to grow emotionally, cognitively, meaning, with their mind
yes.
and the brain, and also socially, right?
True.
It helps people to, if you're teaching a child how to paint a painting, for example, like if you look at which side, the one
Yeah.
up top, that's
Yes.
just a watercolor. And
Okay. It's done by
children,
it's done by a child.
this one was done by myself as an
Okay.
example. I
Okay.
do have one that one of the children did is right here. Now you can
Oh,
see this
yes.
child just threw color on there and just explored, and you can just see their little mind when they've got the colors in front of them. They're trying to figure out which color to use and how much water, and it's really interesting because some of them, they will just go crazy and throw all kinds of color on there. And
True.
others
True.
are just very, very careful, right? And they'll only put maybe two colors on the whole painting. It's really interesting to watch.
Sometimes they throw their emotions also, which is within them, which they are hiding within them. So, I think that's
Yes,
one way they can, release their emotions.
right. And
So,
you've worked with children in painting yourself, have you not?
yes, yes.
So it's, yeah, you're right about that. It's really interesting to watch them because let's say you're working in a daycare situation, and I've had the opportunity to do that with, several daycares.
True.
It's just really interesting to watch them grow, because one week you'll do one exercise and then the next
True.
week another. And as they get more comfortable with color and painting, you can just see them growing, right?
Yes. True. Yeah. Very true. Okay, ma'am, art therapy is an integrative mental health and human service profession.
Mhm.
So, what made you motivated you to get into this profession?
Actually, when I began university, I started out as a psychology major.
Okay.
And all the time while I was taking my courses, just something inside of me was saying, no, why are you doing this? You wanted to
Yes.
do art therapy. Like,
Yes.
this is not, doesn't match. So I literally changed my major to
So
a
you
fine
wanted to
arts
become
major.
a psychologist.
Pardon?
You wanted to become a psychologist,
Well, what I had wanted to do was to go in and work in the mental health institutions
like a
in,
counselor.
yeah,
Okay.
in the
Yes.
US. And
Oh,
you would combine mental health and art if you could, right?
mhm.
However, when I started my courses, I just felt like it wasn't enough of the creative side of things. It was more about the counseling side of things. And it was leaving out the creative aspect that can actually help people to grow,
Yes.
right? Talk therapy is very important and it's part of our healing process, but I didn't feel like it was complete enough. So that's when I switched to, the fine arts with a minor in psychology, because then I can still, merge the two together to help
Yes.
people. Yeah.
Yes. And now, art therapy enriches individual and families. But how does it enrich or benefit community?
Well, when we look at our communities as a whole, each person contributes to that community. And if a person is feeling good about themselves, they're happy with their lives and the way things are going, and they're expanding their personal growth, crime rates are going to be down, relationships are going to be stronger,
Yes.
right? Because people are going to explore themselves from within.
Yeah.
They're going to be emotionally more stable and secure. And just, personally as well as a whole, we have safer communities because people feel like they're thriving and they feel like they're um, progressing in their lives. They have purpose, they have meaning, right?
True. Very true. So, when you spoke about relationship, it's like, could you please, tell one thing which improvise a relationship? Because these days, be it parents or children or partners, a lot of, there's no kind of within them. Like, they don't get closer. It's as and when years pass by, either they just, apart.
Hmm.
So, what do you have to tell them? Like,
Well, it's great if we can start really young with our children, because that's forming positive habits for them and good habits. Not only that, when children are young, as we all know, um, we've been children ourselves and we have
yes,
children, and if we don't have children, we may have nieces and nephews. And children can, when they're starting to have behavioral problems and issues, they can start to spiral out
yes,
of control. And we
yes,
want to try and catch that as quickly as we can and give them positive coping tools to help them deal with stresses that they may have. Because, children have bad days too. They
yes,
may have ADHD, they may have some um, issues that are beyond their control. So it's important that, aside from medication or holistic applications, that we give them healthy habits that they can turn to, such as sports or um, drawing or painting, and these kinds of positive
Activities.
activities
Yes.
to perform, because now their energy, instead of it being compacted and them blowing up because they're upset, now they're learning how to regulate their emotions, right? And they're learning how to express themselves into something rather than, and just into something positive rather than into something, a reactive situation that's negative. That's the first point. And the second point would be that, if it's either through the school system, or let's say you're a homeschooling parent and you have your children home, when we're teaching children how to express themselves, they're becoming more confident, they're
Yes.
becoming more sure of themselves, and they're becoming more stable with their emotions. And that's now helping that child to have a positive relationship with their parents and their
Exactly. Very.
siblings, right?
Yes. Yes. And also respecting their elders, their friends, how to behave. I think all these things, it's a parent's role to teach them, because
Mhm.
they carry from school, they carry home, and as well as from home they carry to school as well.
Yes,
So very true, ma'am.
very true.
uh, Now, our therapists work with people who are challenged with medical and mental health problems. And you also assist in promoting wellness balance in living prosperous mentality. So, what kind of art therapy do you apply?
There really are no limits when it comes to art therapy. Whether you are creating art with metal, you're building with wood, you're painting with art, you're forming clay. So, for example, I've got a couple pieces here. So this would be, something that you could actually mold if you've ever seen them on those pottery wheels.
Yes,
But you
yes,
can also hand build with clay, right?
yes,
So most of us don't have a wheel
yes.
that we have in our homes, or we may not have access to in our community. So it's really nice. Here's an example of one that was done on a wheel, and it hasn't been painted yet. But what you do is you just, you form it with your hands, and working with your hands is so therapeutic,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So you form it with your hands, and then you let it dry, and then you simply paint it, right? You can
Ah,
use an acrylic paint, which is
wow.
what most of them, which would be something like this. I don't know if you guys have this type of, these are just like at the dollar store, the corner store type of paints. And you paint it and you let it dry, right? So I would say that the sky is the limit when it comes to painting,
True, true.
because you want to be able to explore different options. Because what about jewelry? you know maybe you start out, just creating beaded bracelets by hand with, a needle and thread when you're a child, and then you go into jewelry making, as a young adult or adult, right? So there's so many different types. One of my favorites is mixed media, which is why I call it media art rather than art therapy. Yes, art therapy is like a label. It's a terminology that we use,
Terminal.
but yeah, but using different types of tools and supplies is an amazing way to explore yourself and
Different
pull
types
your
of technology, I mean, techniques also.
techniques. I'll show you what I
Yes.
mean. I've got one here. Where is it? Uh, here it is. I have it up behind me. So for example, I've used on this painting acrylic paint, and with acrylic paint you can water it down, as you know, or
Yes,
you
yes,
can use it full strength, right, where it then becomes almost looks like a plastic and thick.
true.
But for example, this one, let's see, oh, getting the angle is. So this was used, acrylic was used on this painting,
Okay.
and what I did was, I don't know if you can see it, but you'll see a line right here.
Yes, yes, we can see. But I was just
And
wondering what is it?
that's just string. So I
Okay.
just threw string on there, and this is all like a foil.
Wow.
And so you just take it and you can either glue, these objects on, which of course I did with the
So
string
this is
because
basically texture painting, right? Texture.
it's like a texture painting. That's a
Yes,
good
yes,
way to say it, right?
yes,
And
exactly.
you'll notice that what is this a picture of? We don't know. It's
Yes, yes,
it's it's not about, oh, I'm going to be this amazing artist, and although we can be, what it's more about is just exploring your feelings through
yes, yes.
painting
True.
and just pouring whatever you comes out of you on the
Comes
painting.
out of yes,
And
yes,
what's really interesting in some of the paintings I've done in the past is a painting will start out one way and it'll look completely different by the time you're done, because you get this idea in your head of what you want to put on there, and as you're creating it and you really moving through your emotions, it
emotions.
ends
Yes.
up, yeah, it ends up coming
I
out.
think when someone is very furious or emotionally, mentally disturbed, when you give them canvas and just tell them to do something, they just you know drop all the colors and their frustration into that, and they get
Yes,
relaxed. So
exactly.
yeah,
It totally relaxes you. And
yes,
how I got, you asked me earlier how I got into it. That was how I got into it as a profession, was,
okay,
through that educational piece. But I had my own healing to do, right? I had my own healing to process in life. And that's what pulled me into it, rather than just always about the education piece. It was about the experience. So the
yes,
experiential experience is what brought me into painting, because I found it so healing for myself and beneficial for myself. And I thought, wow, if this is helping me feel good and it's helping me to feel my emotions in a more um, regulated manner,
manner,
and
yes,
and balance the homeostasis within myself, then how many others can this help,
yes, true.
right? So it's a really a wonderful tool to help us not only explore but to stabilize our lives, right?
I think any form of art gives a lot of relaxation, be it dance or singing. I think when we are tensed or when we are emotionally low, so when we go and dance, we feel better. Or even singing, when they sing a song, they feel better. Even painting also. Even crafts, when they start doing crafts, by the time they finish it, they're so much relaxed and they don't know what they were upset for. Like they
That's
have
true.
forgotten their yes. I think, as you said, it's a therapy. Like by the time when they start, when they finish it, those frustrations are not there anymore.
And I think too, part of the reason in that is because we all, any of us that have danced or like you say sang or done art, most of us like all of those things. If we're a creative
Yes,
person, we
yes,
will, we enjoy all of them. And it just, you're right, like it just gives us this sense of peace and
peace.
calm,
Yes, true.
that, but at the same time, when we're pouring ourselves out into our craft, we we are stabilizing, and we're perfecting, in a sense we're perfecting dance, or we're perfecting our art. If we do a piece and then a year later we look at all the different pieces we've done, we can see that we've progressed and we've become more professional, or we've gotten better at it, right? And it helps us to have that calm in our minds as well, right? Our mind and our emotions, and then of course then our physical body is affected in a positive way as well. It can decrease disease. It can help us to, like if we think of a child, it can help us to not have behavioral outbursts, right? If we are healing as either a child or an adult from trauma, it can help us to stabilize, and it can help us to internalize the problems that we've experienced or the trauma that we've gone through, and it can help us to internalize it. And what it actually does is it helps our mind to have to calm down and to have a different perspective.
Yes, true.
Right? So now we see things a little bit differently. We're looking at it, we're looking at things a little bit differently. So let's say that, a child has experienced some physical abuse as a child, or let's say any of us that have been in accidents as a child or an adult had, trauma from that. When we pour ourselves out into art, or like you say, dance, or anything in the arts, maybe we learn how to play an instrument, we're now looking at things differently because we are coming back to a place of self-value and self-worth, right? So it really is a positive tool to helping us promote healthy and a holistic growth in our lives.
Yes. True. Very true. Now, ma'am, I'll give you one situation. It's just an example or a situation. A child is very furious from many years for being tormented by his mates, for him being fat and a little dark. So he wants to show it to his fellow mates, but he's unable to do it. Maybe he's not courageous enough. But how will you help him in bringing his hidden emotions out and face the mate and society?
Okay, or what type of a situation, or like an
Like his
external
mates
situation?
are making fun of him being fat and body shaming, basically
Oh,
body
so he's having some bullying
yes,
stuff
bullying
happening.
and yes,
So
and it happens
sometimes,
in school. Most of the times, it happens in school for
yes,
being
that's so
yeah,
true. That's
color
so true.
discrimination and body shaming. It happens.
Yeah,
Yes.
it does happen.
Yeah.
More so than we like it to.
Yes.
Well, like you say, because we're all so different, our personalities are different, that child might be withdrawn. So to show up at the school and say, okay, we're going to do art class today, that child may not even want to engage.
Yes. True.
So what is really important that we do is we often, the best way to solve that would be to allow them to come to the activity on their own, because to try and force someone, he's already been experiencing force, right? As
True.
far as people pushing things onto him, he's already been experiencing that. So we don't want to copycat that situation. We want him to come to the activity independently. So it's wonderful in a classroom situation because we can lay the paper out on the tables and we can hand the paint out and we can let them come to it on their own. Now, that's not saying we don't encourage them, because now we're going to get involved. We're going to set our paper up and we're going to just start talking with all the students, and we're going to pay attention to that child that's been being bullied. And we're going to say, let's call him Johnny. Johnny, I put the paints out there for you. You can choose as many colors as you want, and you slowly start to engage him in the craft. And eventually you'll find that that child will come over because they're curious. You know, we all have this built-in curiosity. And at some point, he's going to come over, and he may just sit there and not paint for the first exercise or two. But eventually, he will want to be involved. He'll want to be included. And it's important for us to engage him and to continue to have communication with him to pull him in.
Yeah, eventually, I think children will open up what difficulties they are facing, and they'll be able to share what exactly has happened. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe, like, at that point of time, we can help them to come out of their
Out of their
current
shell.
situation.
Yeah.
Out of this, yes. True.
And you know that you're right, Vina. That's the starting point is to help them come out of their shell, and then we start to see slowly. We start to see some other changes, positive changes, because now he's having more confidence and he's feeling good about himself. And so when if another situation were to say occur, he's going to feel more confident and feel safe that he can come to you and he can say something. You know, a lot of times that's how teachers
He
are.
feels confident that, there's someone to protect him or someone to
Exactly.
hear him.
Exactly. And now he feels safe that he can go to
Safe,
that
yes.
teacher and say something so that they can intervene. That was a great
Um,
example because that
yeah.
happens a lot in
Yes.
our schools, for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah. Now, how do you empower others to explore and discover their hidden inner creativity?
How do we, if we're talking about adults now, one thing that we can do is we can share the fact that we do this type of work, and we can also, let people know. We can advertise. We can, with the wonderful positivity around social media, we can advertise about it. We can let people know that we're holding art classes, that
And now
we're.
there are a lot of online webinars also.
Yeah, there's online videos. A friend of mine and I are putting on, in 2 weeks, we're putting on an entire workshop for women. And so they're going to come and we're going to explore nature and run around on the grass in our bare feet and go for a nature walk, and then, and do some sharing, of course,
Wow.
and then paint. And so, it's just about getting the word out there and letting people know. I think, you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that about how do we do this, because I think what happens with us as adults, we forget how to play. We forget how to be a child again because we're so
Busy.
focused on being an adult, right?
Yes,
We're
yes.
we're so focused on career and working and paying the bills that we forget that there's this little piece of excitement and joy that we can bring into our lives in a creative way.
Every adult, there's a child in every adult. So I think because of career, as you said, because of career and society, there are a lot of people who thinks, like, what will society say, because we are grown up now, we are not
That's
supposed to
right.
do that.
Yeah.
I don't understand from where do they get this. We are not supposed to do that. So at
That's right.
any age, we can do anything, like,
That's
provided
true.
our health permits to do that.
Yes,
So
we
I
can
think,
we can learn to paint when we're 3 or when we're
yes,
73,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
So,
True,
you
true.
know, or even dancing, I've seen some of the videos where these older men and women, they're in their
Yeah,
70s and 80s and they're out dancing and having a blast,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But you know what you're talking about, Vina, is all about being able to take stress and to be able to manage it well. And painting is just one activity and a tool in a way to help us dissipate that frustration, to make it smaller, to allow it to not be as intrusive in our lives. And so it's not saying we're not going to have frustration. We're still going to experience stress, but it's how we manage it. Listening to music or playing an instrument. All of these are tools that help us to be stronger and to be able to respond rather than react to situations.
Yes, yes. Here I'm going to share, ma'am has written one book, which I'm just going to share the cover. So, Sight Beyond Sight. So, very interesting, ma'am. Could you please tell us, like, what is this book all about, and how will that, you know, uh,
Doesn't want to disappear. Well, Sight Beyond Sight is about consciousness. And when I say consciousness and empowerment, I'm talking about it's a spiritual awareness, first of all, to have awareness that there's something greater than ourselves that we can connect to, that can help us. I'm not talking about religion, of course. It's about something deeper than that. So it's about
our
connecting.
own inner conscious, right?
Yeah, it's about our inner consciousness, connecting with a divine,
Yourself.
universal energy. So just basically think of it as energy. Energy is in everything. It's in everything. We live in the 3D world, that is tangible. It's everything that we see in front of us. But there's more to life than that. There's more. Everything has life itself. A painting, when they talk about a painting, right? They say, oh, that painting just comes to life, right? As you're creating it. And often, if we look at paintings in an art gallery or wherever if we're looking at them online, sometimes we're just drawn to certain colors and the shapes and the way that the artist created that painting. And it just feels like it touches our soul. And we say, like, it just looks like it comes to life to me, right? So when we're talking about consciousness, it's about connecting with that. So first, it's all about awareness that there's an energy that is alive and that is alive within us. But then it's about awakening. And awakening is the next step, right? Awakening is the experiences that we have, perhaps with angels, or maybe we've been in an accident and we walk out of that accident. We walk away without a scratch. And we just look back at the vehicle and wonder, how did that even happen? And that's often divine intervention, right? So when we talk about energy, it isn't labeling it as, a religion. It's consciousness that we can all experience, every one of us across the world. And that's what unites us.
Yes.
That's what ties us together as human beings.
And you also conduct play date, I believe, right?
Yes, play date. Excuse me. Playdate is the program for children that I have for children. So if people would like to be a part of that, the wonderful thing about doing things online is that they don't have to be here with me in the room to be able to experience it. So, what they can do is go to my website at sightbeyondsight.org. And they can just send me, there's a contact sheet on the last page of my website, and they can just send me an email and say, hey, I'd like to find out more about the classes that you're running. And if it's for their children, let's say they have 2 or 3 children and they're homeschooling them, they're only going to pay one price. They're only going to pay one price. So it's valuable for them to engage their children in these activities. And what they'll do is they'll receive as often as they like. Most people like to receive an email once a week, and they'll receive a video, and it's a video of me instructing them the child. And so really simply, it's wonderful because say mom's making supper or dad's making supper, they can set the computer up on a table beside the counter so they can supervise them and help them if they need help. And, it keeps them occupied, for that half hour to 45 minutes. And because we know that's about the amount of time that children are engaged. And, they can explore through an instructional video, me helping them to create, an art piece. And so that can be done daily, it can be done weekly. But the wonderful thing about that is that as time goes on, you'll see that child blossom, right? And you'll see them just want to do it more often. They'll be asking can we get the paints out? Because they want to create, right? And as far as women or men, adults or youth, the same goes for them. All they need to do is email me. And because each age category is going to be different than the other, right? And that would require, a different teaching and to help that person explore their creativity as well.
Okay, friends, if anyone is interested joining their children as well as for yourself, in case if you have lost touch in your art, painting, or media art, texture paintings, there are a lot of forms in painting. So you can just mail on the email ID which is mentioned below, so that we can give you more details how to
Hold
go
on one
about it,
second.
how to get yourself registered. So you can contact Miss Raine on this. So okay, ma'am. So we are done with the first round of interview. So we'll go to second round of interview, which is more of fun flow, questions. So this is just to, just a rapid fire round. So you'll have to be very quick in answering.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Have you ever tried Indian food? If yes, what's your favorite Indian food?
Mm-mm. I have. I've tried. Well, I eat a lot of rice, so I'm pretty sure that's a staple. And I love, if I'm creating it myself, I'll do like a stir fry. So that would be peppers and onion and
Onions.
vegetables in there. That would be my favorite.
Okay. Well said. And first thing you do when you open your eyes in the morning.
The first thing I do is I tend to lay there for several minutes, if not longer, sometimes even half an hour, and just go through my day and my thoughts. And I'll often meditate to get my day started.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
in
so
a positive way.
very nice. Lovely. Some people, they see themselves in mirror and they smile on themselves so that they feel positive.
Yeah.
So
And say,
sometimes,
oh, you're just so beautiful today.
yes.
Right. Positive
True.
affirmations.
Yes. We should feel beauty in within us, inner beauty. So
Yeah,
it's not
that's
just that.
important.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
more important. So okay, over to next question. What is the most embarrassing thing you have done during your childhood?
During my childhood. Oh boy. That's really a challenging one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was probably not making it to the bathroom on time or something like that. Right?
That was
I've had some
really
of those moments even as an adult, so never mind as a child.
oh, wow. That's nice. That's nice. And your favorite destination to relax with your three dogs and two cats?
Honestly, my favorite space is my backyard. Like, a lot of people, it's funny because they talk about, they can't wait to go on vacation because they want to travel and every year they go somewhere. And while it's wonderful to go to see other, countries or cities. And even going out in the country, going for a drive on Sunday, I would still have to say, hands down, it's just relaxing in my backyard, with the trees around, and just in my bare feet in the summertime anyway, not in the winter over here. And just, having a bonfire and just enjoying the
Relaxing.
peacefulness, listening to the birds and watching the pups play, and just the freedom that they can have, walking around in their backyard and enjoying the outdoors.
Sometimes we need to be alone to feel relaxed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's really
But
important.
that's also one kind of therapy,
It
being
is. It is
yourself.
all in its own. Yeah, it's very therapeutic for us to, one, like you say, have that time alone,
Yes.
and to
It's
just
yeah.
let the mind relax and the emotions relax, and to feel just at peace, right?
Yes.
And also it gives us that time to reflect. I
Yes.
talk about that in the book. Is reflection is actually one of the chapters. So it's to just take that time to reflect on whatever we're going through that day or that week, and just it allows us that time to pause, right?
Yes. True. And next question: what would you like to eat from your best friend's kitchen?
Oh boy. My one girlfriend actually really enjoys making unusual foods.
Foods.
So she'll, she'll make like Indian dishes, like you talk about Indian dishes, and she'll have a name for it. And I just like, I'm just amazed at her, because it comes naturally to her.
Wow.
And she just says, well, you throw some of this in and you throw some of that in. Like she might make like a frappe, or and just, she kind of got me onto trying different things, chopping up some mushrooms and
Yes.
onion,
Yes.
and just opening the fridge and just putting whatever you have in the fridge,
Yes.
onto a frappe. And it expands my tastes, in food as well, and
Nice.
flavors, right?
Very nice. And she's experimenting on you, is it?
I think so. And I don't mind.
Hope it doesn't upset your stomach.
No, actually,
No,
no, it never
never
has.
happened.
No, no, not yet.
If she's listening here, if
She'll
she's
know.
listening
She'll
here,
know. Yeah.
it's a great compliment to you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, and your one weakness and one strength.
Mhm. I guess, I'd have to say that it's the same thing. So my weakness is in helping other people and wanting people to be happy and healthy and well. We talk about, mental health, that it's really important for all of us to be healthy mentally
Yes,
and emotionally. So it's a weakness in the sense that I just want to help everybody, and I want everybody to be healthy and happy. But it's also a strength, because it brought me into this field of work. And I mean, it's, been a little over 22 years now
and the
that,
satisfaction what you get is the greatest strength.
yes. And, I just, when people, come up to me or call me and tell me, they're so grateful you know, for me helping them, because now they've, been able to change the relationships, or they've changed careers,
Wow.
or, they're getting along better with their children, whatever it is, that is a compliment. And that's what we want to see any of us that have
happening more.
compassion for others, we want people to be happy, and we want to see them happy.
And what is one thing you like about India? Have you been to India?
I haven't. I do know of people that have been there, and one thing aside from the culture, and the beautiful colors and the clothing is just phenomenal. Like it's just so, freeing. Like, I don't know what you would call them. Do you call them sarongs or what? But there's probably different names for different styles.
Yes, we have a lot of. You mean to say dresses, right? Clothes.
Yes. Yes.
Sari, we have selvar kameez, and we have a kind of it's called in South Indian. It's called as davani, wherein they wear skirt and blouse.
Yes.
Young teenagers.
Right.
So yes,
And the dresses are like, they're
yes.
just beautiful and free flowing. But one thing I would have to say that I really admire about the people of India is their relationship to spirit and
Yes.
to energy. And it's a way of life. From what I've seen, it's a way of life for people, and it's not something that they're just putting on. They really believe in their spirit, in a God source,
Yes.
and they integrate that in their lives, and you can see this in their own personal lives and in their families. They're very, from what I've seen, they're very caring and very intuitive in that sense. So I really can appreciate that, right? Because it's something that I value as well. So
Thank you so much for for this wonderful compliment. I'm sure here whoever is listening, they also feel proud because it's a compliment for Indians here. Because yes, I think the bonds what we have within the family or be it with friends. I think Indians more trust follow love. You know, there should
yes.
be love in any relationship, so that's
Yeah,
what they
that
follow.
love is integrative with
Yes.
the spiritual beliefs that they have.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
like you say, you see it in their families, right? It's a way of life.
Yes. And now it's a last question, which is your best painting that is close to your heart? Another follows with another question that I'll ask you a little
Oh,
later. Now, could
let's
you please
see.
tell me?
I've got a few of them out here.
Okay.
Um, I'll share two of them. Oh, I like that one too. Well, I'll share this one. This
Yes.
is one that I did a number of years ago,
Wow.
and it's an abstract painting of flowers,
Okay.
basically, right? And
It's
it's
not a
just,
texture, right?
pardon me,
Is it a texture painting?
not very much. A little bit with the flowers,
Okay.
but the background is very smooth, and
Okay.
it's a very neutral picture, which
Very
is
nice.
I really
Lovely.
enjoy about it, because you can put that in pretty well any room, right? Because it's just basically got black and white, and it's very neutral. And another one, this is very large. I don't know if I can, maybe I won't show that one. Let's do this one. This was one that we did. Was part of a painting class that we did.
Wow.
So what's interesting about this is that we, I hope you can see the colors
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yes, yes,
We
yeah,
just
yes,
took,
yes.
we took yellow,
Blue.
orange. No, it was yellow, red, purple, and blue.
Blue.
And what
Yes.
we did, we started out, it's a little more obvious here. This was another one that was done. And we started out with a block of color, say, right?
Mm.
Just blocking the yellow there, blocking the orange, and the blue and the red. And
Yes.
then if you'll notice, the background is very similar to the two of them.
Yes.
This
Yes.
way. But they both came different because
Yes.
it's how you blend the colors,
Blend the colors. Yes.
what you put on top, what you layer on top. And then,
Lovely.
of course, with this one, just some of the, the spackling with the paintbrush. So that's a technique that, I would show people if they're painting. So you just basically, and I'm sure you know this, Vina, being an artist, you just dip your brush in the water,
Water.
then in paint, and then you just take it at the end of your
And
painting and
yes.
you tap. So if you want little dots, like you're going like this,
Yes.
you would have little dots, and if you want bigger ones, you would, and then sometimes.
Usually we do it for stars in the sky.
Oh, right, yeah,
Yes.
that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those I guess those are a few.
And ma'am, have you donated your paintings?
Have I donated them? I have actually donated a few paintings. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I've sold some. I've donated some. Some of them I've kept, obviously. That's the wonderful thing. We have that freedom to do so many different
Yes.
things with it, right?
True. True.
I've also donated. I've done clay plates and bowls, and
Wow.
I've donated those as well. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, nice. Nice. Okay, we are done with the rapid fire round, and we finished with both the interview rounds, and it was really nice. Such a great information we got about art therapy. Like most of them, they don't know what is art therapy,
Hmm.
and how it can actually enrich. Individual, be it family, or even society, community as well. And yes, as you said, art, maybe like dance or painting, it can actually create a good bonding between couples within the
Hmm.
family, and a child can grow better in a good environment, or peaceful environment.
Yes.
So I think it was really a great information from you, ma'am. We really enjoyed it, and we have a couple of comments as well here,
Oh,
appreciating.
wonderful.
So thank you so much again, friends. In case if you have, if you want to join your, now since it's online everywhere, you can reach out even US, or you can reach out even UK, anywhere you want. You
Hmm.
can be part of any classes. So you don't have to go to that particular premises to get any techniques. So you can just there's an email ID mentioned below. You can just email her, giving your details, and in case if you have queries like how to register or how to go about it, she is always free to answer you through mail. Please feel free to contact her. And ma'am will definitely put across your poster with your contact details, in case if someone wants to contact you, so they can do that. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here
Well,
to our
thank you for
show.
having me. And I do want to say, if any of the your listeners out there would like to sign up for a class, I will throw in a free ebook for them
Wow.
if they sign up for a membership. So
Okay.
I can send that, and then they'll have a copy of my book to read. So
Wow, lovely.
that's a bonus today for them.
Yes. Yes, in case if someone wants to sign up there, and they'll get a free book,
Hmm.
wherein you can just read them sight beyond sight, and it's to find your consciousness, and
And there's a
it,
lot of practical tips in there too, right?
exactly, there's a lot of
Yeah.
practical tips. So here we have, in case if there is some more to it, I'll definitely put it across in VPM pages. You can always view them, and you can contact Miss Rain. And thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you, friends, for watching this show. We'll come back with next guest with a few more different information. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Namaste.
Namaste.